Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Sankarshan Joshi trip podcast. This is your host, Sankarshan Joshi. On this trip, we have a really special guest. We have Shivi Arora. She is one of my favorite fitness content creators. I've been following her on social media for a really long time, so it's such an honor to have her here. In the field of fitness, there are a lot of myths when it comes to female lifting weights. So, on this trip, we spoke about why women should lift weights and how lifting weights help women stay healthy and get fit and lose body fat for long term. So, this was a fun episode to do. I really love talking to her and hope you guys have fun. Thank you.
A Sankarshan Joshi trip.
You're like the kind of person like the first time someone talks to you, like they will
Mhm.
instantly like feel better. Like they
Thanks,
like you
man.
can establish that connection. Like the first time
Yeah,
we spoke on
yeah,
call, it didn't seem
yeah.
like it's the first time I'm talking to you. Like I was so like I
Dude,
was
same. Even I've told you, like, I also told to my other friends who was, they're like, okay, you have had like other podcast invitations to why you're taking this one. Like, does he have like really good subscribers? Like, it's not about the number. Like, I like any platform. It's just I need a good person to have this conversation with, and because your role is to get this out of me, so that's also a big role to have, and I know that you can do that because I spoke to you. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you don't look at the subscriber count. Like you're very that is also reflected on the content that you put out. Like you don't really care about like views or you don't really care about subscribers and it's literally seen with the content that you put out. Like I'm so happy. Like initially let me just start off by saying why I started like following and then how I started like
Yeah.
following you on Instagram. So I found you through Siddhant's vlogs and like
Okay.
you two
Yeah.
were lifting weights together
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when I saw you I was like oh like it's damn cool that you're lifting weights because I
Mhm.
kept telling all my female friends whoever wanted to lose weight I was like
Yeah.
lift weights, but when I saw
Yeah.
you lift weights I went to your profile and then I started following you
Mhm.
just for the content that you put like purely I
Yeah.
didn't have any intention of like bringing you on the podcast or like I didn't have any intention
It's
like
so good to know. Thanks, man. Thank you so much. Yeah.
purely based on your content like I started following you and
Mhm.
with this whole like social media like everything has become like very sensual in a way like to get attention especially in like
It
female
is.
female fitness space. And when I see you
It
right,
is.
like the content that you put out, I saw
Mhm.
this picture of yours like where you're showing your quad gains and then it's like you're showing
Yeah. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
this side of the hip and then I consciously went to the comment to see if like someone is putting out like any sort of negative comment and I didn't
Mhm.
find any. Like I
Yeah.
was like so happy and I was so surprised that
Yeah.
like it's such a positive space like your
Thank you.
page.
I do want to create a positive space, a positive and also like a real space, because it's weird because I'm vlogging this entire day today, and I was just, before I went on this podcast, when I was vlogging, I was actually talking about why I vlog. And one of the things I wanted to say, that I had taken like this 1 week off, like even before I got on call with you. That's why we pushed our call to the weekend, and I told you that I'm taking like a mental health break kind of a sort, so I'm not like interacting with people a lot, but I will once I get better. And this is what I was saying in the blog, because it's very easy to get into that social media perfectionist thing, because you always see the good parts of it, and it makes sense because people want to, like, I'll be honest, I'll post pictures when I'm pumped. Like, if I've gotten done an arm workout, I come back, I feel good, I click a picture, I edit it, and I post it out. So that's like my best version of me, right? I'm not posting it when I'm not pumped and when I'm like waking up in the morning. And it makes me feel good. But on the other side, I also want to show people that, like, I'm human. Because
Hmm.
if I think you must have seen this in my story. I've written this one thing, that whatever I put out as content, I want my 16 or 17-year-old Shivi to feel better about it. Like, if she saw my profile today, how would she feel about this? Because when I was at that age, I was only seeing, consuming content which showed females to be like these goddesses where they don't have like cellulite, or you're completely shaved, or you're completely waxed, your eyebrows are on point, which I'm not. And I wake up every day, I'm like, dude, I am not perfect. What the hell is wrong with me? Like, I have hair all over my body. But that's what this made me realize that, dude, this is real. Like, when I grew up, and like when I turned 19, 20, I realized that this is all normal and people just show their best self. So I want to create a space where people can also see my real side, also see my best side, where I'm putting in efforts. So I'm showing that side, I'm showing the results, and I'm also showing that there are downfalls. So yeah.
Yes, and also, like, in one of your vlogs, you measure your arm, like, before the arm pump. You just, like, you wanted to mention like how much of a pump that you get, and you
Yeah.
mentioned 0.4.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna post a picture also today about that arm pump.
It's so cool because, like, it people who come to your platform, right, like, they
Mhm.
know what to expect. Like, they are following you purely for the content that you put. It's not some like viral TikTok dance video where you just like show your
Exactly
waist and
that.
then, like, yeah.
That, oh my god, that. I think this we spoke about over the call also, that I like this idea of having reels because it does promote you consuming content quickly. But also, if you look at it from their business point of view, they want you to spend more time on your phone, right? And you're like, if you don't have attention span of 1 minute, which is really bad to say, but this 15 second, you're always going to stay there. It's like watching 20 minutes of Netflix episode and saying that, do 20 minutes, I'll watch one episode, but then you go on to watch like 2 3 more of 20 minutes. And it's just same with reels. And the problem with reels is that I love it, but people try to sell themselves in a way where it's just going to go viral. So their end result is viral, whatever their way would be, but it just has to go viral. And that is why you see so many, like, a lot of people also ask me why I don't make too many reels, and I want to. It's just that I'm still finding my way of
Mm.
what message I want to go through for these 15 seconds. But that's one of the reasons that there's so much wrong information, because people want quick fixes, people
Oh
want to
yeah.
see quick
Oh yeah.
results. And in 15 seconds, if you're getting a quick result in 15, you're obviously going to be interested. Like, can I lose belly fat in 15 in doing what, three exercises? Oh yes, I'm going to consume it, and then I'm not going to do anything about it. So you just feel so good about knowing that, okay, I have a solution. Like, I just have to do these four exercises for the rest of my life. But yeah, that's one of the reasons that I don't like reels too much. If you use it in a good way, then yes, but that's also a way of just getting viral videos
You need
altogether. Yeah.
context, right? Like, when it comes to fitness, like, there is so much of individual variance, and there is, like, you need context. Like,
Oh,
every reel that
oh
you
my
see,
god,
it's
so
just
much,
that,
so
like,
much.
there is zero context.
True. So
and
true.
and
That's absolutely true.
I was actually, like, before we I like sent you the link for the podcast. Like, in the
Yeah.
morning, I was going through like how fitness trends like changed, especially when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to like women. Like, how from where it started, right? It all started as a quick fix. Like, everybody wants to do like the most minimum for the most results, and especially they see some like super sexy or like super ripped person doing that exercise, and they think that you
Yeah.
doing that will get you to that physique. It's like it's a
That's so
bunch of
true.
lies.
That's so true. That's absolutely true. Because this is what happened with me as well. Because when I was in back in college and I started my journey, so I was following the people who were into bikini competitions. So it's a competition where, like, you have to, I don't exactly know how to define it, but I know that the person who's competing, or the female who's competing, has to go to their lowest body weight, body fat percentage, and to show their muscles and define muscles, and then pose in front of the judges. So, and that's a sport. I respect that, but that's a sport. You need to go to that extreme level of leanness for that specific sport. But because I didn't have any, a lot of context, and I was following so many people in bikini, so many bikini competitors from outside and even from India a little bit, I thought that this is how I should look if I am fit.
Hmm.
and and I saw people doing exercises, so I used to follow their YouTube vlogs and then check their exercise. I'm like, I'm going to do the same exercise and I'm going to get an ass like theirs. But it doesn't work, because yeah, that's true, you need to have context, and you need to and that's sorry and so I wanted to say one thing. That's one of the problems with reel that you were mentioning, because in those 15 seconds, if I'm showing you the best 3 exercise for belly fat, I am not telling you the context behind it, that there's a lot of other things involved. There's also nutrition involved, your sleep is involved, how you're eating is involved, your behavior or your mental headspace involved. These small things like make like a big frame in the picture. But we are only seeing that 1% of that frame, like, okay, these are the 3 exercises. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Like when we were talking on the call, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
whatever how you told me, or like whatever you told me about like your fitness journey, and like the way how you told it, right? Like I instantly like connected to whatever
Clicked.
you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like when I was watching your YouTube videos, right? I was like,
Yeah.
this is exactly what people need to listen.
Yeah.
Like there is a part where you talk about like toning muscles up, right? And then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you mentioned that like cardio is important, like cardio has its
Yeah.
place, but like
Yeah.
lifting weights will get your muscle toned up, right? Like that.
For sure, man.
I was like, this is like so true. Like, you know,
For
like
sure.
or whatever followers or whatever community that you build, right? I think that you're gonna have like a long lasting community, because
Thank
people
you so much.
people are gonna come from
That's
a
really
very mindful perspective. It's not like some viral gimmick.
that's true. That's honestly, that is my because even though I know, okay, I'll be honest with you, even though I know that numbers are not important, like not like the only thing, but there are times where I feel like, man, like there's so many people in my fitness space who have so many good numbers. Like even Siddhant, for that matter, he has like 100K followers and he
Yeah.
deserves it. He's been doing this for the past like 5 years. I've just started my journey, and he has showcased like his reality. But I sometimes I feel down. Like, to be honest, I do feel, I'm like, yeah, I should I like I should I do something different from this. But then I realized that, dude, what I am doing is something I want to. It's okay if it's slow. It's okay if I might not be getting the result, like number result quickly. But I know for a fact that whatever I build, it's gonna be long lasting. And I know for a fact that the people I attract are gonna be the people I want to build this up
Mhm.
with. And that's probably one of the reasons you didn't find that creepy comment on my photo.
Yeah, I
But
am.
yeah, but you're right about this. And thanks for saying this. Really, like, thanks for reminding me this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there is like it's such a huge world out there. Like, and
Yeah,
in that, this fitness world is an entirely different world. Like people are motivated from different things. Like people are like super like neurotic about a lot of things. Like in fitness
yeah,
space, there is like it's an entirely like different world. And
I agree.
I had this question for you. Like
Yeah,
initially, when you started like your fitness journey, right? So, let me just take a left turn here. So,
for sure.
going back to the point where I said I was looking at like the workout trends that women used to
Yeah.
follow, like from a lot of years. It
Mm-hmm.
was like mostly like a normal movement. It was that weird like toning up exercises that you showed, like a lot of weird
I get.
exercises. And weight training and resistance training has been like people are still not aware of it, and this is the decade where like slowly it's
People are,
changing.
yeah,
Yeah. So when
blooming.
you
Yeah.
started, right, like when you started, what made you navigate towards lifting weights and not like get like super neurotic about cardio?
Cardio. So I started with cardio. Okay. I did start with cardio because I wanted to lose body fats. I was like, I'm going to burn calories, I'm going to get my carbs out, and I'm going to lose that body fat. Then I started following, I'm telling you, my followers were all from outside. I usually like my whom I look up to at those prime age were like people or women from outside or men from outside, not from India. I didn't follow anyone from India. And when I looked at them, I saw that, okay, they're lifting weight, but they have like this amazing physique. And obviously, I started to, I think everyone starts to look good. That's one of the, because no one starts like, okay, you know what, I want to be mindful in my life and be fit, and because everyone has this one reason that they're starting, and it's mostly towards aesthetics, mostly towards looking good in front of the mirror, which I completely understand. So I started for the same reason. I started with cardio, but when I saw people outside lifting weights and I saw that they have this amazing physique and they have like these muscles, and I could see it, and I was like, wow, I want that. And I started going into the lifting part a little bit. I used to do random stuff because I was very new to it, but I used to use all the machines and do squats and goblet squats, anything and everything. I used to do any, and weirdly I started loving it. So in that process I knew that okay, this is required for me to make muscles, and then I started doing my own research, and then I found that lifting weights is required for you to, tone up, and cardio is just for like probably a medium through which you can increase that calorie deficit, or maybe if you want to increase your work capacity. This is the coach in me talking. Okay, cardio is important, but let me just talk through the perspective of how I was before. So for me, then I understood that cardio is a medium of calorie deficit, and lifting would make my body toned up. So I started shifting to that. Plus I started enjoying it because I love grunt work. Like I love when you are about to lose and you have to go that one more extra rep, or you have to hold for one more 30 more seconds. And I used to love that work, like when I'm giving up and I have to push myself more, because I'm come from an athlete's background, so I know that work. And I just started loving this, and I started doing it just because I love it so much. So I think I would say the reason I got to like summarize your answer, my answer, it's one, because did my own research. I followed the people who are lifting weights, and that's one of the things I tell to my clients. If you are probably eating at at a good level, like I encourage a lot of my female clients to first eat at maintenance for a long period of
Hmm.
time, because they have always been into calorie deficit. Like this is our first answer. Like every problem is, okay, you know what, I'm going to eat less. Everything, you don't look good, you look you're not liking yourself, anything, all comes back to food, and you're just going to decrease the food. So I encourage them to actually eat the amount which they should eat, like at a maintenance level, and just basically play around with what they're eating, like the quality of food, but the quantity is still the same. And I literally told them, you know what, if you feel a little bad, I want you to unfollow the people with whom that you might be comparing to, or maybe I follow more people who are into this journey where you are going, trying to actually respect your body, trying to nourish your body, and as the and at the same time you're also pushing yourself to be fit, to also aesthetically look good. So, and because that makes a lot of difference, because I followed my time, I followed those people women who were lifting weights, and I looked up to them. I was like, I want to do that. So I think that was one of the things, that I followed the right people. That was one thing. And the second was that I did my own research, which always tell all my clients to do. Like even if I'm saying something, if you have, like, I think you should go back and read it, because this is something I've told you on call also. Like I want you to be able to do stuff even when I'm not there. So I want you to continue your healthy mindfulness journey with yourself even when I'm not around to guide you. So I always encourage them to do their own research. So these are the two things that I did, which led me to this path. And
Yeah.
the third was that I saw people outside, and they were like, because I've heard this from a lot of people outside who have traveled. They've told me that a lot of women actually lift. Like in India, there's still a little bit taboo around lifting weights for women, and women getting a little bulky. But when you go outside, dude, women lift as much as Indian men over there,
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
So they're into lifting, and a lot of, like, a huge amount of population is. And I was just thinking, and the one thing that came to my mind, dude, if they can do it, why can't I? Like, why can't I have that physique where I'm strong and I look good? And that's what actually led me to this journey. Yeah.
Yeah. It's especially in India, right? Like uh women lifting weights, like they associate lifting weights to something bad happened to their uterus. Like I have
Oh
heard
yeah.
like my mom, and my sister talk about this. Like,
Yeah,
so right now I've gotten my sister and my mom slowly into like lifting weights. Like right now, like
that's
I'm,
nice.
yeah,
Congratulations.
like
That's a huge step. I know.
I had to so many hours of dinner table conversation and convincing I had to do. Like I had to explain them
Yeah,
with like a PPT or something, like a salesperson. I had to
I
explain
can
them properly of like
I
why
can
lifting
understand.
weights is like better.
Important. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, does it actually impact the uterus? Like lot of people think. Like, what
Hmm.
is this myth all about? Like,
So I'll tell you. Okay, this is something that I remember one of my family member telling me that. So um, I will also tell you why, from what point they can be right. And I'm going to tell you why I feel like the myth is taken in a bad context. So the myth is like, this is what one of my family members told me, that if on your period, you're going and lifting weights and you have axial loading. Axial loading is basically, which is like this loading, like 90-degree perpendicular loading. So imagine I'm doing a squat. I have a barbell on my back, that is axial loading. So that will put pressure downwards because of gravity, and your uterus will start getting impacted because there's pressure from up. Okay, so this is what they feel, that this is the issue. Like you shouldn't, and you shouldn't be doing this now. And this is a complete myth. To answer your question, that is not what happens. Like when you're lifting weights, there are a lot of female athletes. Like I know a lot of power lifters who lift the heaviest weight for one rep, and they have done this on their period too. It's a little uncomfortable for sure. Your energy levels are impacted a lot. You might feel low, you might not perform your best, but I know that they have done it. I have seen a lot of athletes do this, and that is complete bullshit for sure. But I understand like few reasons that I can say why people are like, why our elders are so considered, like concerned about this, is during the whole this menstruation period, obviously, because the blood is flowing out of your body, like literally, you lose a lot of iron, you lose a lot of micronutrients, and especially iron, and your body is a little weak. Like yeah, it is a little weak, and in that weakness, if you're actually trying to put a lot of pressure on yourself, that is just like on a pile, there's one more pile of you putting stress on your body. So that might not be good. But this is also very contextual. For some people they can actually push themselves, for some they can't. Like I can't. Like on my first to second day of period, I can't push myself. I'm just dead at that point. Like I'm just lying on my bed and I get my Netflix in and just like sleep whole day because I can't. But I know some people that can. Or on my third day, I'm like a superwoman. Like I'll be like, I'm going to lift the heaviest, and I have lifted the heaviest. So I get where these concerns are coming from, but it's just that when you put it up in the sentence of, okay, it's going to impact your uterus, it's like headlines of Times of India. They just want you to read that article. So it's very catchy, it brings eyes, but it's not right. But I can understand where they're coming from, like why they're telling you. Like even as simple as when a lot of there's this one myth also, that you're not supposed to enter the kitchen when you're on your period. Now I don't know if there's any religious context to it, but what I can understand, like once I was talking to my mom about it, and she said that maybe this is not the right headline to say to other person, but maybe what it means is that you're weak, so don't do any work, just chill. So don't go to the kitchen, because, and obviously this is also again a very like a patriarchal thing to say, that women belong to a kitchen. But in this context, I understand the concern, where the concern is coming from, that you should rest. So it's a complete myth that is going to impact your uterus, but there are obviously some nuances to it. So I can't just say that it's good and leave it to you. I will say that it depends on how your body is feeling, and you need to
listen to
be
your
in touch
body.
with your body. Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the reason I think I've heard a lot of posts also about it, that you should, and stories also, that you should definitely track your cycle, because there's so many things going on in a female body when they're going through like every month of your cycle, and you will actually understand how you're feeling before the cycle, the middle of the part, which is like the ovulation part, and in the start of the cycle. And you will understand your own self, and you just have to, then once you understand, you will have to adapt to these things so that
Hmm.
you bring the best of yourself forward. That's
Oh
one of
yeah.
the things that I do with every female client, that I need them to be in touch with their own bodies. And then if they come to me, like I have my clients coming to me and saying that, Shivi, I'm just like, I'm going to skip today's workout because I'm not feeling well and I think I'm going to get my periods. And I was like, yeah, cool. If you think you need that rest, go for it. I'm no one to tell yes or no to you. And yeah, that's about it. That was the answer. Oh shit. So sorry.
Yeah, and they need to listen to their body, right? Like if they
For sure.
if
For
they
sure.
feel like eating a lot more than their like normally what they eat, they need to eat that.
Hmm.
And if they feel like not hitting
Yeah.
their like max at the gym, they can just like slightly they can do or like reduce
For
the.
sure. For sure. You're so right. And about that eating part, I'm glad you got that up. A lot of females go through these craving periods because of our hormones going up and down. And this actually happens like your body temperature increases.
Hmm.
So once our body will feel warm to us. And once your body temperature increases, that means that you're expending a little bit more calories. So your maintenance calorie might be a little higher, like 200 calories up in one
Oh.
part of the cycle. Yeah. So you're right. Like your body is actually telling you to eat. Your body maintenance is like going 200. So you can actually adjust your food and you can just eat a little bit more in one meal, or just, include a snack, include a chocolate in your diet. That's completely fine, and go on with it. So you're right about it. Like your body is always always giving you cues. Like these are called biological feedback that we are getting. We just have to actually be very aware about it. And this is
Yeah.
one thing that I've learned, like in my recently, not even at the start, because I was so obsessed with calorie counting that I let the other external things define what my body want. Because I was
Hmm.
just looking at the macros, I was just looking at calories. See, I know everyone on this planet right now, at least in our age, knows that calorie deficit is the way for fat loss. But there are so many things more to consider when it comes to fat loss. There's so many things more to consider when it comes to nutrition. It's not just calories. And that is the one thing that I want to actually, I'm glad you got this up. One thing that I actually want to get this message out, that your body is the best, like the best, um, what's that word? I'm forgetting that word. But your body will be the best resource for you to actually know what you're feeling and what you need at that moment. And because we are in this age where we are defining everything by calories, which makes sense for a performance perspective, it does, because even I do it right now. But when you're externally giving everything to the scale, to the weighing scale, to the food scale, then you're not allowing yourself to actually listen to your body.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In order to listen to your body, you need to be at a place where you can understand what your body wants. Like the other day, one of my friend called me like after I put that episode out about like my fitness journey,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then in that like he was asking me for tips. Like
Yeah.
I'm not certified at all. Like it's
Mhm.
just like based
Yeah,
on like
I saw the
whatever
video.
I listen to like
Mhm.
from external sources. So I told him that he says that in the evening he craves for eating something. He says in the evening I feel like eating something. So then I
Yeah,
told him like there is a difference between you feel like eating something craving and your body actually wanting food, right? Like it's two different things. Like there's a very
for sure.
like a thin line
Yeah.
between those two where I
Yeah,
told him 2 months once you are into like working out, then you'll be at a
mm,
place where you can understand what your body wants. Like
for
literally
sure.
like differentiate between what is craving and then what your like does your body actually want that thing.
For sure. That's such a good point. Dude, for a person who's not a certified trainer, you're doing a good job with your tips. No, but it's
I'm
absolutely
glad.
right, man. Completely right.
And I
Mhm.
think that it depends on like the sources that you get information from, right? Like
Oh, for sure.
i
Yeah.
I don't watch YouTube videos for information or like knowledge per se. Like I started listening to this fitness podcast called Mind Pump, and like it's basically like three like 20-year plus like experienced trainers, like they talk about all this.
Okay. Oh,
And
that's nice.
when I saw you, when I saw your content, like it reminded me of them because usually when
Thank
they
you.
started this podcast, like they had this rule that they're not gonna get like they're not gonna flaunt their abs to get followers. Like they wanted people to follow for the content, and
Yeah,
similarly even with you also, right? Like you want people to come for the content. So
yeah,
like
for sure,
when you listen from such sources, probably you will get the right like knowledge and the right information.
for sure, for sure. I
Because it's
agree.
very simple, right? Like don't you agree that like fitness and then like getting fit or like losing fat and like the nutrition everything, it's not complex, like
Yeah,
like it's very very simple. Like you need to know what are those simple things.
that's true. Can I say my quote right now?
Yes, please. What is it?
My God, you know my quote. So it was, I remember this talking to you. I was talking to you about this. So it's extremely simple, but I see you smiling.
But
but, but, so I'm doing the Salman Khan dialogue. But the simplicity is complex.
yeah.
Damn, mic drop. I'm gonna go now.
Yeah, it's so
But no,
true.
that's true. It's simple. Like we have like certain principles, but it's true that the simplicity is complex because when you as like when I started out, even I thought that you know what, calorie deficit, lose fat, and check your weight every week, and then see what you want to do. But as you go forward with these, it's very simple, but is those simplicity, how you apply these simple things is what is a little bit complex, and that's where sometimes you need a coach to guide you through it. And like there, because a lot of people see like when I was there, and even right now when I see clients, they see food as just calories and nothing else. And that makes me feel a little sad because when you were a kid and when you're eating food, you didn't think of those as calories. You were like, okay, you know what, I like this, I'm going to eat this, it tastes good. Like you were enjoying it. But for some, like I've seen people getting so obsessed and neurotic, what you were saying, that's the right word, about food. And that's why I'm like, yesterday I posted a question poll on my story about what are you struggling with. I just wanted to see of how what kind of content I can probably make to help people out in my audience, like my family. And a lot of girls, for some reason, and I'm not saying that's only like a gender issue or something, but a lot of girls had problems with binge eating, and this definitely comes from that neurotic or obsessive behavior towards food, because you start looking at food as if like it's going to make you gain weight or it's not going to make you gain. How many calories have you eaten? It gets so obsessive for some reason, and I have been through that, so I know how
Yeah,
that
yeah.
feels. Yeah.
I have been there too. Like when when you said on the call that you have been through that
Yeah.
phase too. I
Yeah.
felt like okay, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Like it's or like when it comes to fitness, not a lot of people are like fully into it, right? Like you like when
Hmm.
you tell them that you are going through something like if it's affecting your mental health, like people
Hmm.
will have a hard time understanding that because they have never felt that. Like
Yeah.
so
No, that's completely true. Yeah.
yeah, with this binge eating and like it's either like this end or this end. Like they are like they don't give a
It's
fuck
black and
about
white.
yeah,
It's
like
black and white. Yeah.
they don't care about like what goes. They're just eating food and food has been their medication. Like if they're feeling sad or if they're
Yeah.
like that's the part.
Yeah.
And the other part is like extremely like they're very cautious about the calories that they eat. So they're like
Yeah.
even if they eat like a little bit more, they start to feel anxious because they think that they're gonna get fat
Exactly.
now.
Exactly, for sure. And you know, there are like, if you're really like into, so it starts from a very, like I think in my recent video of women and fat loss, I also spoke about this, and I started that video from explaining a pattern that I've seen in women the most, which is you start with decreasing your food, you start with doing cardio, you start with everything, every action that you do is to burn calories. So you start looking at things in those lens, and it gets a little obsessive, and you start getting obsessive with probably your weight scale. You stand on your weight scale and you see your weight is still the same number, and you're looking probably the same, and you'll just drop everything again, drop your food, increase your calories. And from like these are the small patterns that if it's continued for a longer period of time, let's say for 2 to 3 years, that's what starts going into actually disorders. And when it goes into that level, obviously you and no coach is practiced to do that, like to get through that client. You have to get a therapist, you have to get people who are into I don't know, but there are specific people for actually looking over binge eating disorders. So you have to get like professional help at that point. But I know for a fact that these things, from really small things, like really small, that's what I'm saying, it's really simple, but it gets complex. Like these simplicities are so complex, and you have to find, that's where a coach gets into the picture and guide you through it. And these small patterns is what you have to actually work on right now, because this is the pattern I've seen in almost every person, every woman, I would say, at least, because I have worked with them a lot. And I have gone through that pattern because I've only seen food and so only seen myself from the lens of if I'm looking fat, or if I can see my abs, if I can like flex my abs, or did I eat too much? And if I eat like 200 calories more during that day, and I'm feeling anxious, and I drop my food the next day, or I increase my treadmill run the next day, that is all you getting, probably craving a path for sabotaging yourself in the long term. Yeah.
You see workout as a means of calorie transaction, basically. Like it
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not more like I'm eating this food because like here health is not the point here. It's getting fit or like looking a certain way is the primary thing. Like here it's not health, because
Yeah.
healthy people, they don't get anxious if they eat 200 calories.
For sure, man. For sure. That is not health. For sure. And this is one thing I've also seen. Like there was this one video I posted on lockdown and mental health, and also lockdown and training, about how to build muscle when you're in lockdown. And the first thing that I said was that this is a tough time. You sit down and you see what's your priority. Like right now, I'm privileged enough to not worry about my family because my family is with me. I'm privileged enough to have like a roof over my head. I don't have to think about finances right now. So I am privileged enough to right now focus on my training, and that's why I'm making this video. But if you think you're from a situation where like maybe mental struggles take precedence over everything, then you should first make that as a priority and do things accordingly. And this is so important, man. Like if your mental health, or if your mental health towards your fitness journey is not right, then you are not healthy. I'm sorry, you're not. Because it plays
Yeah.
a equally as important part as how you look in front of the mirror. Aesthetics play a role for sure. I want every client of mine to look fucking awesome, to look sexy, to look hot in front of the mirror. That I want them to look in front of the mirror and say, dude, I look hot. But I also want them to be okay when these small things happen here and there. I also want their mental health to be good. Want their energy levels to be good. I want them to enjoy with their family when they're going out for a dinner. And that's what makes you like live a healthy lifestyle. And yeah, basically what you were
Did you
saying.
ever overtrain? Like, oh,
Oh,
when we were on
a
the
lot of
call,
times.
when we were
Yeah.
on the call, like you said that during college you were, you you were looking your best. Like that was like your
Oh yeah,
peak,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
peak
that was
physique.
nice.
So, like from there, like when you were there, like what was going on in your head? Because like when we were talking on the call, it seemed like.
That's a very good question. It's a very
So
good.
what
I'm
was it
telling you,
like?
man, we vibe.
Yes.
Then your thumbnail should be "we are vibing." No, don't make that as a thumbnail. But okay, so this is one thing that I actually wanted to talk about. Like this is on my notes. That one message I wanted to give is when I was doing these things, my perspective was that I am not enough. I am not enough in whatever I do or whoever I am. So I need to do XYZ things to be enough. Now, the problem with this statement is that whatever I do, even if I do attain that physique, for me it was like I need to look this way to be enough, to be wanted by other people, to be accepted in a social environment. But the problem with this statement is that I might even get that physique. And I did in college. Like you said, I had a good physique. I had a good waist. I had a good ass. And I was like, I'm looking good. I can wear crop top and my stomach is like completely flat. But the problem with this statement is that whatever I do, even if I do get a greater physique that what I had in college, I would still feel like I'm not enough. And it's just a cycle that keeps on happening because I am approaching things from a very unworthy place. Like I'm inside, I'm not feeling like I'm worthy of anything, and I need to do something. And that's bad. That's really bad
Yeah.
because that is I'm approaching things from a very negative connotation. That means my relationship also I look everything from a relationship point of view, like with my friends or with my exercise, with my business, with creating content, everything I always look at it from a relationship perspective. So my relationship with the workout, with my fitness lifestyle, what I had created was based on toxicity. Like, you know how you say that it's a toxic relationship when two people are having unhealthy patterns in the relationship, is the same thing. I had a very toxic relationship with my fit lifestyle. So whatever I do, it was always leading up to me getting disappointed and me feeling, man, I don't think I'm doing enough, I should do more. And that's where the overtraining comes into picture, the obsessive behavior comes into picture, and these whole neurotic parts that you do. That you dude, I used to eat boiled chicken with salt every dinner. Can you imagine?
That's
Like I'm
all.
22. No, no, no. Like this was my dinner every day,
Okay,
like
okay.
chicken and rice. But like boiled chicken, what am I doing in my life? Like you live once, like let me have. But I obviously it doesn't mean that I'm gonna have butter chicken every day. Balance should be there. But I just I when I look back, I'm like, dude, what was I doing? Like I'm glad I put my heart out and I like went all in, but I also know that my methods could have been better.
Hmm.
And that's why the overtraining question, I did it because my whole entire relationship was so bad with it. So, and this is one thing that I really encourage every person who comes to talk to me, is that I don't want you to approach anything from an unworthy place. Like anyone who's starting or anyone who's listening to this podcast, if you're starting anything, any journey, you first have to tell yourself, dude, I'm worthy, irrespective of how you look, how much money you have, who are your friends, or if you have any friends, whatever it is, you need to approach things from a worthiness thing. You
Yeah.
have to. And worthiness is not about, I know I've heard a lot of people say that, okay, if you need self respect or self love, you should work on your commitments, which is true. But when it comes to worthiness, it should be there irrespective. Like approach things, and I'm saying overconfident, I'm just saying just feel that you're worthy enough to be in this platform, or worthy enough to
Yes.
be on this planet, and then
Yeah.
approach things. Because when you approach things from a place of worthiness, the whole, like, that lens of shame that you have, that changes, and you look
Yeah.
at things as not, you're not good enough. You look at things as, okay, you know what, I did something bad, that doesn't mean I am bad. I did wrong. Maybe my methods, or like, I wouldn't say for my past self that I'm bad. I would say that I did get some bad methods in the frame. And that is how your language also changes, because I know I'm approaching these things from a place of worthiness. So this is one thing that this is like the most important message when it comes to fitness. I'm not even kidding. I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of science out there, but there's no use of science if you're approaching your methods in this, like in a very toxic environment.
Yeah.
And that's why I did overtrain, and I burnt out myself like completely. Yeah.
You stop liking exercise also. It becomes more
Oh
like
yeah,
I
definitely.
need to work out more than I want to work out. Like
Yeah,
it becomes
for
more
sure.
compulsion. And I had a dance and movement therapist on my podcast. Like she has a lot of experience
Oh
working with addicts, and then like how
yeah.
addiction works, and then how they use
Wow.
movement therapy to make them feel better. So in that
Uh-huh.
I brought up the food addiction part, like how people get like addicted to food, and then how they see
Mm-hmm.
that as a medication. And then she clearly told that it comes from I don't deserve this perspective. Like I am not good enough. I'm not like good enough, so just like fuck it. Like So even when you see like Tanmay Bhatt, right? Like he lost a lot
Yeah,
of weight. Like he lost
yeah,
so much weight, but then he gained all that weight back again
all the
because
way back. Yeah,
he worked on the action, but he didn't work on the behaviors what that made him like overeat. Like
so true.
he
So
went
fucking
from like
true.
I don't deserve this like good things for me. Like I deserve
Yeah,
only like bad things or something. Like from that
yeah.
perspective. And
No, that's so true. The behavior that you're talking about, because, and weirdly, a lot of people have gone through this, and especially like what I stated with the pattern of getting your food down, everything down, and you become thin. You're like, oh wow, I've achieved something great in my life. I love myself now. And then obviously, like life happens to you, shit goes down because life is not linear, and then you might fall back into the old patterns because the whole crux of the pattern is that your behavior is or your habit are still like the old habits and the old behavior. And what you said, like you're just acting on that action, that's what you did. You're just acting on that action. You're saying that I don't deserve this, so I'm going to just decrease everything. But when life is not stable or you're in a different circumstance, you will always fall back to the cushion, like the one which where you so habits are basically where you don't
medication.
need willpower. Exactly. And habits are something where you don't need the willpower, so it just happens. Like you wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. That is, your brain doesn't need efforts. When you start something new, that's why they say that you need a considerable amount of time to convert it into a habit, is because starting may you require a lot of efforts, and then the efforts start decreasing day by day as you get used to it. So it becomes like a second behavior for you. And that's what happens, like when you are not changing your behavior and your habits around food, around your lifestyle, which should include a part of fitness, which should include a part of you taking time for yourself, for your mental health, this will all go away. Like if you're not working out from that lens or from that perspective of creating habits. Because the minute you are in a danger or threat environment, and by threat I mean if your life goes through a
Stress.
turbulent phase, exactly, you will fall back to the cushion where you don't require efforts, so you will fall back to all the old patterns. And yeah, so this is one of the most important things that a coach does for you. Like that's where a person would encourage you to, like, and every coach should do that. So if you're with a coach who is just making you lose fat in 12 weeks and giving a before after photo for their Instagram, they're not a good coach.
Or a
They're
meal
really not
plan. Like or an Excel sheet
yeah.
with like meal plan
Oh,
proper.
oh man, I've seen, dude, you have no idea. Like I've seen people sending me meal plans and asking me what am I doing wrong. I was like, this is wrong. The entire thing is wrong. I can't want, but this whole email is wrong. Just take it back. But yeah, I hate meal plans. It's good as a starting point if you have context to where you're going. But most of the times people will use meal plan as अच्छा weight loss करना है और fat weight loss करना है, ज़्यादा fat loss नहीं होता. Weight loss करना है 12 हफ्ते में, meal plan दे देंगे and you will see the results. Because you're right, it's simple, but it's not. The
It's
simple
not long
is
lasting.
complex. Exactly, it's not. So you will see everything. Like I've seen, in front of my eyes, people rebounding. And when you rebound, your weight might even increase. And
Hmm.
because your body has gone through that phase where you're not giving your body food, your body will be right now in much more sensitive position to add on more fat. So you might even end up in a worse situation than before. You might even have more body fat than before because your body is like, dude, I don't want to go through this, entire phase. So I'm going to hold on to body fat more
Whatever I can, yeah.
so that exactly. And that's why habits, behaviors, everything comes into the picture when you're going through probably a fat loss phase or going through this phase where you're trying to um, inculcate something new in your life, like this whole health and fitness perspective. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked this question. Yeah,
And
good question.
like i- in order to lose weight, sorry,
Yeah,
like lose fat, like losing
yeah,
weight, I don't know why we are all obsessed with like losing weight. Like
yeah,
losing fat is the right way to go about it, right? Like
for sure,
if I'm
for sure.
lean, that's all I want. Like I don't care how much how heavy I am. So
Yeah,
regardless of whatever gender you are, like lifting weights is the most ideal way to lose body fat in like long run,
For
right?
sure.
And
For sure.
in one of your vlog you also mentioned like 2 days of like full body resistance training is good enough to like to build
Oh, for
muscle like
sure. For a beginner, yes. Like obviously after a certain point, I can't say that just like stick to 2 days for your entire life or for 3 years. But for a beginner who has never started it, 2 days is more than enough for at least like a considerable amount of time. And I always stick to the lower end range is because when once you get accustomed to that lowest, then you can, build upon that slowly and slowly. Because I've seen a lot of people, again, the quick fixes is our habit is to just go all in
yeah,
or all out. So if you're
beat
going all
yourself up,
in,
yeah.
exactly. So I'm gonna train like 6 days a week, or I'm gonna do weightlifting and then I'm gonna do cardio. And what happens is, one, you don't have enough room to play with because you're already in 6 days. After 12 weeks, what will I tell you? Like, okay, you know what? Remove your Sunday and just go for the Sunday workout as well. I can't do that. And the other thing is that it's not sustainable because you will burn yourself out. So that's why I always like recommend the lower, like start with the low and then build upon that, because like lead the foundation first. But yeah, two
Mhm.
days is also more than enough for you to just start and to see something, to see some result. Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there any like added benefits, especially for women when they lift weights? So, like, I know that it balances out. Like, I have a very generic, or like, while I had to
Mm-hmm.
convince my mom and sister to lift weights, I had
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do
yeah.
my preparation. Like, I had to do my pitch. So
Makes sense.
then I did like a
I've done that too.
so like
Yeah.
now I know very generic good things like it balances out hormones or like it regulates insulin or like you need muscle is like a pro tissue. You can eat a lot more if you have like muscle on than like you don't have to,
True, true,
yeah, to
true.
maintain all that. Is there any like added benefits other than like this especially for women when
All
they lift
the
weights?
Okay, so all the genre thing that you said is completely true, which happens and which is really important. The other added thing that I can think of right now on top of my head is your bone health. So for women, they usually, and especially when you start entering the age of 30s, your bone health start getting, actually not even 30s, like even in 20s, your bone health start deteriorating dheere dheere. So you need to get, like you need to lift weights to actually take care of your bone health, so that there's basically they get more stronger. For women especially, because our because after like 40, or I don't know the age because it differs, but we go through menopause after a certain point of age.
45, 50.
And yeah, basically that's the age. And in menopause, your hormones are literally zero. Like female hormones are zero right now from your reproductive organ. And that is the age where you'll see like females having knee problems, or you will see like a lot of stomach fat coming in, because our body literally changes into a male fat patterning. So a male would have more a fat patterning in their stomach.
Stomach,
A
yeah.
female would have it more in their hips and their thighs
Thighs,
for
yeah.
childbirth reasons. But when menopause happens, it's like, okay, you know what, the childbearing process is over, so you will start developing more of your male fat patterning in your stomach. So that is one thing, and that's one of the reasons that it's really important to lift weights and just take care of your body composition. The second was bone health, which is extreme, because that's where the osteoporosis, which is like your joints giving in, that is where the bone health, you'll take care of your bone health. And also running is very important for women as well. Like for menopause women who are going through that, running is really important, like slow pace jogging and lifting heavy. It's actually quite the opposite, because I've read it also in some paper that females during their old, like post 35s, who are lifting the most heavy are actually at a greater at a greater, not at a better position as compared to the ones who are not lifting heavy. So it's actually the quite opposite of what we think. Like old women should actually, not old, but like elder women should actually lift the heaviest weight. And this is two. And the third is what you said, which is a big point, so that's why I want to repeat it, is about your hormones, because it's extremely important. And it's not like weightlifting magically just makes it happen. It's just that your body composition, if it's in a better place, then your whole hormone level will be, at a better place as compared to someone who's not at a good body composition level. But yeah, these are the three things that I can think of right now. If there's anything, I'll add it to this list.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that one of the important thing that changed my entire like fitness journey, like
Uh-huh.
when I stopped overtraining, was when I realized that your central nervous system also becomes weak. Like it's not just
Mm.
about like your physical body. Like so, when I was
Mm-hmm.
overtraining, I would deadlift. Like my max is like 100 kgs. Like that's my like
Okay.
maximum I can deadlift. So
1
I
RM.
would
Yeah.
do that like like every time I did like pull workout, like twice a week I
Ah.
would lift like 100 kg. Like I would max out every single time, but I saw
Yeah.
very little like progress. Like I wasn't even like I couldn't able to add more weights. Like the progressive overload wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then I realized that like when I went back to my room after my like overtraining session, I would feel like
Yeah.
so weak. Like I would feel like
Burnt
my
out and yeah.
yeah. So every time I thought of lifting weights, internally my body was like, no, like it's like
No. Yeah.
yeah. So then when I like stopped like overtraining, when I started like slowly training, I feel that like my central nervous system, my capacity to lift more, like it built like overall. And I think that especially like when it comes to like female, right, I think that when they like slowly start like lifting heavier and heavier, I think that like their central nervous system also like becomes strong, right? Like they can be like more active, like more physically engaging.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to tell you one more thing. It's not just the central nervous system, but I'm going to explain you something about what, and you already know this because it's a very layman terms that I'm going to tell you here. So we go through something like how we build muscle is basically through this process of you are putting your body into stress. Okay, ideally, because when you're lifting weights, that is a stressful environment for you. So your body is at this like level which we will call homeostasis stasis, which is basically like a level where your internal and external environment is at a neutral level, like everything is functioning neutrally. Now something happens, like stress for us right now is lifting weights, so that stress, you put your body under that stress, it goes out of that level. Okay, homeostasis, this goes out of that phase, and then you give your body some time to recover. In that recovery time, what your body does is your body adapts. Okay, because your body is really smart, so it knows that, okay, if 1 to 3 or 4 times you have put your body into that stress, it's going to start recalibrating itself in a way where it will sensitize itself to this information that, okay, I'm going to go into stress again tomorrow, so I need to adapt myself enough so that I'm stronger. So you give your body that time to adapt, it recovers, it gets stronger. Then there's again stress, and that's why the whole picture of progressive overload comes into the picture. Because what happens is, if I'm just doing bicep curl with 5 kgs for 20 reps, so at first it's going to be a little like hard for me maybe, but after like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's gonna get easy. Like I'll be getting 20 reps easily because I have recovered from it and my body has gone stronger right now. So I can handle this much. So that's why I need to now probably shift from 5 kg to 7.5. So that will be like a level up for me. That's where the overload comes into the picture. Now, what you were experiences, one is for sure, I think central nervous system does play a role here, because if you're training so much, like with that volume every week, and you're maxing out every week, not even with the lift, you might be doing accessory work as well after your deadlift. So with that total volume every single week, that's when you're not giving your body the time to recover.
Recover, yeah.
So it's what's happening is, if this is homeostasis, you get your body into stress, okay, it goes up. If you give it time, it adapts, it stays. If you don't give it time, it goes down. Now, so in your case, what was happening is, your body is not getting time to recover at all. So your body actually, when it should have been getting stronger, because you're not having enough probably sleep, or your volume of work is so much that you're not recovering, your body actually starts crashing down, and that's a sign of overtraining. that you're not resting enough. And that's why whenever you will look at people talking about fat loss, recovery comes into a picture a lot, because there's no point if you're not recovered. Even if there's mental stress in your life and you're going to the gym working out, even that would hinder it, because you're
Yeah.
in the gym, you're having stress, and then outside the gym you're also stressed. So when is your body recovering? Like, you're not sleeping enough if you're stressed, or you're constantly worried, or your body is into that, flight and fight mode,
Yeah.
because that's when your body is like in that stress.
Stress.
So yeah, so in your case, I would say more than CNS, I would say that you just weren't giving your body that time to recover. And even I have been there. And there's one more thing interesting that I actually recently find out. We always consider heavy lifting with CNS fatigue,
Hmm.
central nervous system fatigue. But
Mm-hmm.
I have found something new, because even this is also new information for me, which is I found in, I think, one research paper. I'll let you know if I find it after this podcast. But it was basically about how even higher reps, like going up to failure, higher reps in every single exercise, probably that would actually cause more CNS fatigue than just doing like a 1 rep max.
Hmm.
Then, like, was
Okay.
because we always had this picture that doing heavy weights is equal to CNS fatigue. But that CNS whole part is very complex, extremely complex to understand, because even I haven't understood that properly. But I know for a fact that this new information that I've gathered is also very interesting, that even doing heavier like reps of like 25, 30, 35 for failure every time is also going to cause a lot of CNS fatigue. But yeah,
Hmm.
you're extremely light, because that what you said plays into the picture, and also the recovery part plays into the
Oh
picture.
yeah.
So both of it is just bringing your body down. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for like giving closure on that. Like I
Oh, sure.
assumed I assumed it was a CNS thing because
Mm,
my sister, she used to like lift weights like long back, like 1 year back, 6 to 8 months back, and then she entirely stopped because of like work, night shift, like lack
yeah,
of sleep, blah blah blah. And then
makes
after like
sense.
so many months, like when she started lifting
Hmm.
again, she wasn't able to do like 8 normal squats. She would do like 20 kilos of weighted squats like easily, but then she wasn't able to do like normal squats. Like her like entire body started like vibrating. Like she started like,
Wow. Mm,
yeah. So that was such a surprise to me because I thought like the same person was able to do like a was able to lift a lot heavier than this at a lot higher reps. But so then
yeah.
I started thinking like what exactly is weak here? Like is it her muscles or is it like a holistic like overall like CNS? Like I think that's when I concluded this as like some like
Got it.
CNS like
Got it. Got it.
strengthening
Got it.
probably, yeah.
I got it. No, it's actually much more complex than that. But it does play a role for sure. But there's a lot more to CNS fatigue. What actually fatigue is, when, if in the fitness realm, I don't know about obviously anxiety and every other thing, mental health, but I know in the fitness realm, it's much more than just, lifting 1 rep max and then feeling tired. So that is not equal to CNS fatigue. That could be just you not giving your body that time to recover,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
Makes
if you're
sense.
overtraining your body, yeah,
I wasn't
basically.
even eating like enough calories back then. Like
Oh,
I
then
was
yeah, definitely. So you're basically setting yourself up for like a
failure.
crash. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a crash.
yeah,
It should be
absolutely.
Sankarshan crash, because even I've done that. I've crashed so many times, man. So
Yeah.
you remember that call I had where I told you that that this I've never this spoken about this to anyone about my injury, where I got injured. So if anyone doesn't know about this, it's like basically I got this Achilles tendon injury, which is like the strongest tendon, and I managed to break it because I was playing badminton. But after that, like, I got through a surgery, and something that I've not opened up about was that when I did get this injury, there was a part of me which was relieved. I was completely sad. I was broken. I cried a lot every night. But there was still a part of me which was relieved, because I was overtraining so much before that I felt that I had this weird, as I said, I had a very toxic relationship with fitness in general in college. And I thought that, okay, I knew that somehow I'm doing more and I shouldn't, but also I couldn't stop because I used to feel bad because I'm not doing enough. Because, this whole dialogue of I'm not good enough, so I need to do like more. But I'm doing more, but more is not always better.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized. And a part of me wanted to stop, but I couldn't, because I was like, no, I have to do more. Because if I'm not doing more, then who am I? Like, am I a failure or someone who can like just stop? And I had these like dialogues with me. And I was so hard on myself that it took an injury, literally a tendon to break, to make me stop. And I felt good because, I had a justification, because I was like, yeah, I'm not working out because I am injured. Because me saying that without injury, because yeah, I'm not working out because I don't feel like, I felt like, no, I'm being a loser if I'm doing this. So yeah, so this is one thing that haven't really opened up to anyone about, but it was about like how I was a little relieved. And this is what it shows, that my body was giving me signs that I'm burnt out. And I was actually like, my dialogue with fitness was like, I need to do this, I have to do this, I have to do XYZ thing. And when I got injured, I just got like, a bahana to say that I'm injured, so I'm just going to lie on the bed. So yeah, it's really
It's
important to look at other things too.
yes, yes. Like when we were on the call, every time anything that you said, I always had my eyebrows up. I was like, fuck, like I can relate to this like so much for every single thing that you said.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
initially, I was nobody. Like when I was in school, people gave me attention because I was good at dancing. And then in school
I
annual
get it.
days, if you're
Yeah.
like dancing, then you're cool, right?
Yeah.
So like
That's
that
so
was
true.
my
Even I thought that.
so like that was my identity. And then slowly when I moved
Hmm.
to college, like when I like it's bigger university, there are a lot of better dancers than you are. So I was like, I give up on this thing.
Yeah.
So like I stopped like dancing. I started putting efforts towards dance. And then slowly, like in the last like 1 year, I like one
Hmm.
to 2 years, I started like growing my hair, and then at the same time I was like losing like weight, like I was getting fully into like
Okay.
workout. And so then I started like identifying myself. Like when I was in school, I was like this cool dude who would dance, right? So now I started like identifying myself as this like people give me a lot of compliments for my like long hair. I grew like for 2 years I had like full like long
Yeah.
hair. And
Yeah.
for like even with
I saw
exercise.
your podcast actually. I did see your podcast. I saw your long hair. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like so hard for me. So that's why I got rid of that, because there is
Wow.
more to
Yeah.
me, like there's more to me than
That's
just
true.
like my long hair. There's more to me than just like me being good at like fitness. So it
So
makes
true.
like so much sense like when you said that, because I think that people want to feel identified, right? Like they want to be this person. Like they are always in search to be that person. Like people say like go find your passion, so that they can say that I'm passionate about this, like this is who I am. Like they're always
Yeah.
in search of finding who they are. So probably that also like got in my head. Like that's like I know how you feel when you said that, because I was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because this is something that even I went through when I was in college, where I identified as this. Because obviously, when I was working through from a place of unworthiness, I thought that fitness is something that's going to save me. And it just became really toxic, because no one thing can save you, right? So you need to, like, for me, I just started identifying myself as this person who's fit, or person who looks good, who has a great fucking physique. And I was just scared that if I downfall from this, then who am I? And I was scared to get out of this picture. And that's the only reason I also encourage everyone to actually look everything from a perspective of relationship. So if in this, if I consider fitness as another person, this is basically a very codependence relationship that I'm forming. A codependence is basically, if I want to define it, is me depending on someone for everything.
Yeah.
So imagine you depending on your partner for love, for
For feeling
supporting you,
happy.
everything. Yeah, just feeling happy, like you're giving happiness to someone else, like
The
someone
power. Yeah.
else's response. Exactly. So that is what I was doing with my fitness. Like I was really dependent on it to give me everything. Like my physique is everything, my fat percentage is everything, my food, how I look, everything is just that. And because I had developed such codependence relationship, I was scared that if I take a step like out of that lane, then I will be lost. And that is what I needed to do. Actually, I did needed to get one step out, and that's what injury made me do it. Because I
Hmm.
had to take 2-3 steps back or just off track from the fitness realm, and I needed to take care of myself. And when I did that, I realized that, dude, there's so much more than for me. Like, I'm not just this. I have a lot of other things. I have, like, it's not like I don't want to ever, if anyone tells me how do I identify myself with, I don't want to stick to one thing. I'm just someone who likes doing XYZ, and it depends. Like, things will change with time. I know that. So I never want to identify myself with one thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say that, yeah, I mean, I know my profession is a coach and a fitness coach who's helping people, but I know that I'm not just that.
I was
I have
about
so
to
much
just
more.
say that. Like, I was about to just like say that you are like you make uh kind of like a living. Like, I don't know if you entirely make
Hmm.
your living by being a coach,
Yeah,
but like that is such
I
a
do
major
actually.
yeah.
I do.
Like, even though like that is so important to you, you saying that that is not all who I am, like
Yeah,
that comes from a very like mindful perspective. Like
for sure.
like I see this especially with women, right? Like with men, like they like insecurity, it is not developed from home. Like I didn't see, I mean, like I do have a lot of friends who feel insecure. Even I feel insecure about a lot of
Hmm.
things. But especially with
Hmm.
women, right? There is a lot of like societal things that create
A
insecurities.
lot.
And also at home, right? Like,
Lot.
let's say you have a dark skin tone, or let's say you're fat, your family starts putting in, it's like it's women's job to look good. Like, that's how it's
Yeah.
been like
Shit,
framed.
it's so true. It's so, that statement is just so true. Like, it's a job for us to look a certain way. So true. I don't know if you have seen this post, but I've wrote one caption about femininity and what it means to me. Because I have always considered myself as like a tomboyish. Like, everyone in my family, in my relatives, have always told me that I'm a tomboyish. Like, labeled me basically completely because I have some boyish behavior. But, and that actually made me just go away from this femininity that I also have. Like, I always believe that there's I don't want to say that men are not emotional, but I also know that because our bodies are made in such a way, females are more, I would say, I use this sentence also in my caption, that we mother our surroundings a lot. And that's because if you see, like, I'm just talking about physiologically speaking, your body literally goes through the period of time where your body is like allowing you to make a baby. And basically these whole hormones helps you to actually mother your surroundings. So I've said this thing that I've had this motherly energy is not only with the child, it's with other things as well, like with my business or with what the kind of work I do, how I approach my work, how I speak, everything comes. And that's what, and this is what, and you're like, for us, because we have, like, for me, because I was kind of labeled as the tomboyish one, I thought that I need to be away from this energy, or I need to just probably, like, it was the opposite for me. Like, no one told me to look a certain way. My peers told me, like, I kind of had this thing on myself that I have to look a certain way, but in my family it was just like, you're boyish, so forget it. But for
They've
that, like,
labeled
that's
you to
labeled.
be this
Yeah,
one person.
exactly. But so that label actually put me, like, I thought that I'm not feminine enough. But then I realized that my whole caption is about the femininity is like an energy. It's not to look, it's
Yeah,
not how you
so true.
dress up, it's not how you, it's just, it's an energy inside that you bring on the table or bring in other things that you do and your environment that you create. But you're absolutely right when you say that there is societal pressure for us. Like, and even I know that when it comes to family, they always come from a place of concern. They always come from the right intentions, but it's just that in that environment, plus your peers, plus social media, plus, I was just saying, everything that you see is basically making your mind, like making a mirror in front of you and saying that you're not good enough and you need to change this to become better. But yeah, and this starts from a very early age, and this is what the pattern I was talking about, which I've spoken about in my video as well, because I've seen this happening, because it all starts from a very early age where you just start looking at someone else. Like, I remember looking at like Bollywood actresses, and I'm not saying it's a wrong thing, but I looked at them and I looked at myself and I was like, this is not like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like what I'm seeing in front of the mirror. Like, I want to have like this waist, and maybe then I'll look beautiful, and maybe then I would. So everything was like, I just postponed everything to when I get XYZ thing. Yeah, but you're right. Like, we have a lot of pressure for
For a
sure.
fun fact, I know this is very like
Yeah.
random from like whatever we've been talking. With the video vlog that I saw when you and Siddhant in Siddhant's video, someone
Yeah.
commented that you look like Deepika Padukone. I don't know if you saw that comment.
No, I
Like there were
no.
so many. Yeah,
What the
literally.
hell?
Yeah, like literally, someone commented
Wow.
saying, "Oh, she looks like Deepika Padukone." You know, like she smile, like her smile, her dimple looks like that.
Just because the dimple, yeah. Even you have dimple, nice.
Yeah, I have only like one side. I don't have like,
Sad.
yeah, I
You're
don't have
not. No, you
balance.
have two sides.
Yeah, but like right side is much more like like you can
Prominent.
see
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
left side is just
It's
there for
okay.
like
You can just have
formality.
like a left side profile for a photo.
Yeah. So how come I saw the comments and you didn't?
I have no idea. No idea. I might have no idea. You know, weirdly, what I saw yesterday, I saw, so there's this, I think there are other vloggers too, like in fitness. Like I know there's Sakit, and there's Aryan, who's Sakit's friend, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So somebody on my vlog yesterday commented that I look like Aryan. I was like, wow. So if you're saying I look like Deepika, it's just like a wide range from Deepika to Aryan Khanna.
It's like I think
Like,
that Aryan Khanna's like the nose and like
and
I think
the
probably with the
bun.
oval shape, like that face cut.
Yeah.
I think the outline probably yeah
Yeah, probably. And I, also in my vlogs, like I'm so like I literally wake up and I vlog.
yeah
Like I have nothing. I don't yeah, sometimes I don't even wash my face. I'm like, it's okay, man. It's a vlog.
yeah.
But
It's
yeah.
so random that I like thought of that when you said like
So
when you
thanks,
said
man.
about
It's good to know
Bollywood.
that I look like Deepika Padukone.
Yeah, it's so like coming back to the fitness part. Like I I
Yeah.
I think that like women they do a lot of things, right? Like with respect to like carrying a baby to like they are responsible for an individual's life, like
Yeah.
from health
It's
to
huge.
like the mental space when the baby is in womb. Like they do a lot of like they carry like so much weight on them like 24 into 7 when they're like pregnant at the peak. And I feel
Hmm.
that women need to lift weight than men. Like I think that it should be like the default for women because they do like so
I
much
get it.
like
Yeah.
a physically uh like the tasks that they do, right? They need to have their hormones on point. They need to have like the bone density. They need to have the muscle strength to actually like give birth. Like they need
I
that. I
agree.
think that it should be default for women and not for men.
I agree. No, I kind of agree to that. It's, and I was honestly, when I was when I wrote that caption about femininity, or I also wrote one caption about periods, like menstruation in general, and I was just thinking about how like our bodies just go through so much, and like I'm telling you, like I feel like we are superwomen. Like every
Yeah.
female or every person who goes through menstruation, because every person who goes through menstruation is like hats off, man. Because dude, our bodies are really complex. Even a man's body is really complex, obviously, but it's just what you were saying, like we have to, like we literally like bear a child in our stomach and we give birth to a living being literally. And it's just amazing what a woman can do, honestly. And what you were saying about having it as a default, even I think of the same thing, that it should be something which is something that you grow up and you're like, okay, now it's time to start lifting weights, like how a man would go. Because for a man right now, it's even in my gym, I'm the only girl, and there's one more girl who comes sometimes, but I'm literally the only girl who's there, and there are like 15 or 20 guys over there. And it's just, we haven't, honestly, because I live in Navi Mumbai. I think I'll see more in Bombay, but you might know this area as well. Even in this area, there's not so many more women coming up and joining the gym. And it's just, we have to literally, and that is one of the reason I consider myself as a female coach, because I really want to spread this message. I want females to start lifting weights, because it's obviously fucking great for your body. It's what you said about the biological process, that if a woman is bearing a child, if that is the choice that she's making, it's going to just help you to actually do that process more, I would say not easily, but just it helps your body to be in a better position to do this. Plus everything that we've spoken about, the bone density, the hormones, the body composition, everything is in our favor for the better. And more than also this, it's fucking empowering, man. Like when you lift that weight, when you lift a heavy weight that you think that you can't, or when you lift like 100 kgs, because I've lifted 100 kgs of squat and it felt like I am like the emperor of everything. Like I felt so empowered inside because I was scared of it and I did it. It's just very empowering to know. And you will, every female, every woman will be, it'll come as a shock to them of how much strength they actually have. Like it's
Yeah.
untapped potential. And when you do see that potential in you, you just skyrocket your confidence, your belief, your attitude towards things. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted like more female and more women to join, because it's not only about your looks, it's obviously about health, and more importantly about your mental health. Because I've seen that change in me, like when I started approaching lifting weights um, as a performance perspective, I completely like changed how I looked at fitness. And it was like I was actually shocked with myself, like when I started lifting 3-digit weights, and it was like a addiction. I'm telling you, like when you see yourself doing this, you're like, wow, I can do so many things. And that's how the ripple effect starts. One good motivation, one achievement, and you just like form like good things above
Yeah.
that.
You feel
But
invincible,
yeah.
right? You're like, fuck, I can
Oh
do
yeah.
anything
Invincible
types.
is the word. Yeah. Invincible is the word. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that in order to, one of the best thing that I love about fitness is, in order to, let's say, like squatting 100 kg is your goal. In order to
Yeah.
squat that, it's not just the ability to just bend and come up. It's the, like, are you, is your posture like good, like are you, is your foot
Yeah.
mobility well, like is your
Yeah.
like how are you doing that? That's very important, right? So even like I had
Very
this phase
important.
where I was like, oh fuck, even I wanted to like lift a lot. So like I think for squat, like max I tried was 80 kgs. And
Hmm.
that too, when I did that, I had lower back pain for like 2 days because my
Damn. Yeah.
my foot mobility was like so bad. Like
Yeah.
I cannot get my knees over toes when I like
Got
squat.
it.
Like my foot mobility is so bad. And like while
Got
I
it.
was coming up, right, I feel like my left hip is weaker than my right hip. So like while I was
So
coming
that
up,
take a little.
yeah, like there was this
Mhm.
weird tilt where my right part of my
I got
body
it. Yeah.
like came first, and then I had to like push my left side.
Got it.
And then like I'm
Got it.
assuming that is what like caused the lower back pain. But yeah, in order to reach that goal,
Probably.
you need to have like a lot of attributes in place. It's not
A
just,
lot, man. For sure, a lot. Actually, the journey is the thing. More than the 100 kg, I would say it's just that when you are so patient and you work, because I've seen women, like I've seen my clients not doing even one push up and then going from one to doing 10 to 12 push ups in one go. And that whole journey where you actually, you're patient with yourself and you do like negative push ups, you work on your shoulder strength, you work on like just pausing, isometric, everything. Like you do a lot of things to get to that level. And once you do, you earned it because you went through that process. And that is what makes you feel invincible, because if you can do this, if you can manage from zero to something like this in this period, and you can actually spend time doing little things, then you can do anything. Like you feel that way. And you're right about that. It's actually the small attributes that come into the picture that make you feel invincible or that make you feel better. And
yeah,
it's always like I think it's a very cliche line, but journey is like more important than the destination. And it is, that's true,
yeah,
because that makes you the person who you are. So even if I'm lifting from 0 to 100 kgs, I will be working on a lot of other things. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. Like in your case, um now that you have probably now that this is how I lift 80 kg. Now you're going to reverse engineer back, and now you're going to work on probably your mobility. If not mobility, then you're just going to work on like unilateral strength, so that you have strength in both right and left. And it's a very slow process, and you need patience, and that makes you learn so many things
Yeah.
about just in general. This is one thing that I also wrote way before, not right now. I wrote about how iron, so iron is basically the bar or any basically the equipment that you lift in the gym. I refer to it as iron because it is like
It
I don't
is
know, it's
iron,
just
made out of iron.
yeah, that's also
Yeah.
true. I don't think it's iron completely. I'm not sure. I will Google this after the podcast. I should. But I wrote this one thing that iron, what you get taught by iron is something that you can apply to life.
Hmm.
And that's completely, that's so true because it teaches you the process, the
Another
patience.
another quote.
Quote. Oh my
Yeah.
God, yes.
You can sign it like Shivi.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, skipper.
So that's
But
your
yeah.
signature? Like skipper is your signature for real?
Oh no, no. It's Shivi. It's Shivi Arora.
Okay.
But yeah, skipper is gonna be something that's gonna be like
Brand.
probably brand. Yeah, probably brand. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It's like it's so cool, like the way you're establishing like with the skipper. It's like a three dimension,
Yeah.
like that's what brand is, right? Like every time if you like a fitness vlogger, if you like some social media influencer, it's like you will get connected to like their world. Like with Saket and Aryan, right? It's like their own
Yeah.
tiny world. Like with you and Skipper, right?
Mm,
Like it's your own tiny world. It's like you, like
that's
once you
true.
get context to what is happening with their like life, I think
Yeah.
like you need, like you get, like you build a really cool like community with that.
Dude, that's what I like about social media. Like, I know there are a lot of cons as well, but one of the pros is that you connect with people. And that's one of the reasons that I want to show the real side because I can't connect with people by just by showing my abs and my ass. I'm just gonna connect with creeps. That's not community. That's just creeps following me. But when you have to create, I know that's funny. But when you, oh my
No,
god,
when you said creep, I actually had this mental picture of a dude like sitting, like scrolling through Instagram and seeing your
nice.
post. Like I have this one like image of like what creep will look like. So I was imagining him.
God, that's why you're laughing in like a
Yeah,
second break. And
yeah.
wow. Okay, so basically, yeah, for the community, that's one thing that I really like about social media is that you just get to connect with people on that, on a soul basis, and that's what I believe in. Like, if like you saw my profile and you felt connected to it somehow, like in some way, even though I was not addressing it specifically to you, and that's what I really like about it. Like, I want that thing, that community, that connectedness where people can relate to the realness and where people, and as I said, like the 16 to 17-year-old Shivi can see that and be like, this is the person I want to be. So this is like these two things are what I really like about social media. And you're right about it. It's like a tiny world, but in this tiny world, you're sharing with people.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like when you're vlogging, it's like you're talking to this like one user persona, right? Like in your head, you're
Yeah.
talking to like this invisible person, and then
Yeah.
you kind of form a connection with that individual person, right? Like when you're vlogging, it's basically you're looking into camera, but it's like you're talking to someone. Like you're not
And
just
that's
like
what I think. That's what Aryan and Saket are doing right now is really good because they're actually connecting with their, even Siddhant for that matter. He makes a lot of vlogs and he has been doing this since really long, even since Saket started or other guys started, because he was always into vlogs. I've seen him growing, and this is like this is what, like the connectedness that you're seeing. I've seen them doing this, and even when I watch their vlogs, I'm like I feel connected to it, even though I am a coach and I know what they're talking about. But yeah,
like
you're
when I
right.
see your vlogs, right? Like they're actually like really good. Like it's just a matter of time. That's all. Like I don't see anything like that you can do with respect to like content. I think that like everything is like in
Hmm.
place. It's just
Wow, really? I feel like I have
yeah.
so much to improve on because I'm not so comfortable with vlogging right now. I'm still learning. I'm still getting a little used to it because it's not my best forte. But I like doing it. I kind of like it, but it's just that I'm not used to it. Like having the camera whole day in front of
I
me.
think you're good at it. Like I think that you
Hmm.
have it in you. Like I tried doing solo like podcasts where I just like
Okay.
ramble about like whatever it is
Yeah,
about
yeah,
like
yeah.
my
Hmm.
existential crisis, and I just like randomly talk about it. And when I'm looking into camera, right, I am so, like it is so awkward. Like I do theater acting. Like I
Oh
also pursue
wow,
that. Yeah, but
that's
like when I
impressive.
look at camera and I'm talking, like it's so awkward. Like extremely awkward. But you do it really well. Like you also,
Yeah,
I
and
think that
I am a little comfortable. Yeah.
you put that quirkiness also. Like I saw your like face zoom
Oh yeah.
in your recent
Dude, a
vlog.
lot
You're
of
just
people
like
message me. Oh, did you see Skipper's part? That's the most fun part too.
yes, yes. You put a like cute little like a tie to him,
Yeah.
and I actually had
Yeah,
like
but
a spoiler because you told me on the call that you're going to do that. So
oh
I was
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, I
looking
remember.
forward for that.
Yeah. Yeah, but
It's
no, that's this quirkiness is what makes me comfortable because this
hmm.
is who I am.
Yeah, I think that's what like people can connect to because
That's true.
people want a friend, right? Like people like when they see
Exactly.
vlog, like they should feel
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
oh, like Shivi's my friend. You know, you genuinely are. Like you're like this, like very you're very like charming and positive. So it's
Oh,
like when
thanks,
you
man. Like, take my photo. See,
when
this
you
is why I
just
don't wear this call
like
center
because
headphones.
but the quality of audio is really good.
Really,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, it's like really really
But
cool.
no, thank you so much for appreciating my
It's
personality.
very
Really.
like it's not very rewarding, right? Like when you start initially creating content, you put like so much
Not
effort
at all.
into like making that, and like even with this podcast, like I spent hours together like editing this and then like
I can
making it.
understand, dude. There's so much content even right now that we are speaking, and now that you say it, I'm like, wow, he has to do so much work now after this. But no, yeah, it's true. You know, even for fitness in general, like if you start with a good coach, like if you don't have like any photo shoot or something which is a very like just a deadline, if you don't have a deadline, if you just want to work on yourself and aesthetics and your health overall, a coach wouldn't, like, at least for me, I don't want to label good or bad, but at least me as a coach, I would never give you something which will make you see something in 4 weeks or 5 weeks, like and that's why I'm saying that this thing, one thing applies to everything in life. Even with social media, you won't see any rewards, and I'll be lying if I'm saying it, and I'll be lying if I say that I'm okay with it, because sometimes I do feel down, sometimes feel like
Yeah,
I do, should I even do this, like should I vlog it, like what will happen, like I'll get views, yeah, but I know that I know that first, like I have to feel obviously grateful about the fact that I have some audience, and whatever audience I have, they engage with me, so I'm really like happy about that. And then the thing is, you just really need to be just consistent and just
yeah.
believe in your the end goal that you have or the vision that you have for yourself, and just keep going at it. And if you're aligning, what I feel, this is really important, if you're aligning your values with whatever you're presently doing, everything will like sort it out.
Hmm.
Because if I'm being fake in my vlogs, I'm not going to be able to do it sustainably. So if my one of my values is to be real and honest, so if I'm doing that in my vlogs and just being
You
consistent
are
with it,
honestly, you are.
I am for sure. I know that. Like I put effort to actually like, make sure that, because sometimes I do want to like just go back and I don't want to say anything about my life or the down part. But if you are aligning the values with what you're doing, I believe, and if you're consistent with it, I believe that the right people will definitely come in, even if it's slow. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true. I think that with your content, right? You're at a time right now where there are not a lot of women who would want to lift weights. So it's like you are at the start of this era. Like
Thanks,
slowly,
man.
like
Yeah.
slowly as you grow, right? That's when resistance training among female community also grows. Like with you, like you
Yeah.
can literally witness. Like let's say 5 to 10 years down the line, you can literally like
See
say
the
that you were there and then you're here now, so it's like
Yeah.
it's like a mark of all the journey. And
Yeah.
for a fun fact, like if a
Mm.
woman is pregnant and if she lifts weight, right, it sends a
Yeah.
signal to your body saying that this is the kind of environment and stress that I have to be ready for. So the baby will probably have like a good genetics, like the ability for the baby to build muscle is like pretty quick, it
Wow, I
seems.
didn't know that. Like I
Yeah.
know about how the environment of a mother would actually affect the genes of the baby. I know that because even for when I was doing my research on eating disorder or binging pattern behavior, whatever, like disorder specifically, I've seen that this is also very linked to genetics of like your environment when you were a baby. Like how is your mom, like when if I am a mother, how am I eating? Am I stress eating? If I'm stress eating, I'm actually creating that environment for my baby. And that's how the genes also, that's how we say that a lot of things, like even how you build muscle sometimes is linked to like how fast you build is also linked to your genetics as well.
Genetics, yeah.
But I didn't know about this. This is a very interesting fact. It
Yeah,
is,
I
and it
heard
makes
this
sense. Whatever you
recently.
said, it makes sense. Yeah.
I heard this on the podcast that I told you about. Like those people also bring in
Ah.
like cool like some studies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where
I'll
I
check it out for sure.
yeah, it's I think that probably even you can also start your own podcast because people need content. Like I think like either in your vlogs like that's what you're doing, right? Like you're putting out like
Mm.
raw content and like especially like women like every female friend that I know, at least once in a conversation
Yeah.
I've asked them to lift weights. Like they at this
Okay.
they're like
And what do they
borderline
say?
annoyed.
What do they say?
I think that
Like, what's
see
their response?
either
Like,
like
what do you think, like in your circle, what do you think is making them stop? Or
they're
what is
like they
their
don't want to
problem?
get bulky. They
Hesitation.
want to feel masculine. Like that's like the number one thing. Like they don't
Mm-hmm.
want to get like bulky. As if it's so
Hmm.
easy to get bulky. Like I get like so mad. Like people are trying to get like bulky. They're lifting weights and they're
Yeah,
not. And
that's true.
so I think that it's the masculinity part. And the second thing that like the whole uterus thing. It's not good for women to lift weights. So I think it's like those are the two like major prominent things. So yeah.
Now that you're saying this, I was just thinking about this, of how even social media plays a role in this, because they're going to sell you, there are some people, like they will sell you where you already, like, something that justifies to your belief. So if I have this belief that I'm going to get bulky by lifting weights, you will see a lot of reels or just female influencers, I don't know,
You see a lot of
just
Chloe
doing
Ting then.
stuff. Oh my god, yeah. Then you just see influencers and like some reels where just people are doing, not lifting weights, but doing some exercises like body weight. Body weight is also okay, but there's something else. Like they do stuff which is different from the basics. Like I've seen this one reel where someone was doing a lunge and a bicep. And I was like, why do you want to combine these two exercises together? Like, there's no sense. And weirdly, I only see female doing this. I've never seen a man do
Yeah.
this. I've never seen a man do bicep curl with lunges. But I've seen female doing like 2.5 kg dumbbells and just doing lunges and bicep curl
Why
and
do you
lunge and
think that
bicep. And
is?
because that's what I'm saying, that's when you said it, it's just the market is gonna, like, the media sells something which you already, like, you just need justification. So whenever I see it, it just confirms my belief, so I get attached to that person, because I feel like, okay, no, she is conforming to my belief that this is going to get bulky, I should follow her, so maybe this is the way out. So they're just selling what they think the trend is. The trend in female is that, female, like, we are scared of getting bulky. So even like the social media, obviously it's gonna, not social media, but you will see people trying to sell by conforming to that belief of people, or
Yeah.
conforming to that faith or scaredness or fearness of people, and not go against it. And that is just, and I really hate it, because when I consider that I don't see any male do this shit of combining two different exercises. Like, you can combine exercises, but this doesn't make sense, like doing bicep and a lunge. But I've seen a lot of females do it, and I just, yeah. And this is one of the, I think one thing to blame is the wrong information that's being provided, for sure. Like, if you, the first question that you asked in this podcast was, how did I got into it? I would say I just got into the right, I said, followed the right people, and when I followed people, because you will definitely look up to someone, not up to, or you will just look around, and that will influence what you are thinking, for sure. So you have to, for sure, pick and choose what you are actually, like, kind of
Yeah.
following, or what you're seeing around you. And I was just lucky enough to be following the people who were outside, who were lifting weights. If I would have seen people doing a lot of cardio on social media, I'm pretty sure I would have stuck to cardio for a really long period of time. But I saw, and also it's a very funny story, but I had my my ex used to train a lot and he had a great body, and I was like, dude, I want to have a great body, what is this? And I saw him in the gym, and I was like, can you just take me through the workout? And then I worked out with him, and that's when I realized, dude, I love it.
Yeah,
But I just like, we really need to be aware about the information, and and
totally.
really like, it hurts me to see this, honestly, because I still see so many misinformation around just for people to go viral, or
Yeah,
just for people to get more views or likes, and it's not right, because you're literally changing their perspective, or you're conforming to their beliefs that they already have.
yeah.
And that just, basically, you're just, again, then we are just going backward again towards the culture of a woman that we are creating. But yeah, I think that is what, like, when I heard you talk about what your female friends are hesitant about, I really like immediately connected to how, like, even social media plays a big picture into it. And but it sucks to see that we still think that we're going to get bulky. It
Especially
sucks.
with, like, especially in the like female fitness community, right? Like, I feel like there are two things. One is that in general human psychology is we always look for evidences, look for facts to confirm our beliefs. Like, even when we are arguing with
Okay,
someone, we are.
sorry, I want to stop you, and I want to tell you there's a name for it. It's called it's something called selective perception. So what, it's
Oh,
basically that you will pick on things that's going to confirm your
your
beliefs.
beliefs.
So if you, yeah, so if you feel like, for example, if you feel like, if I'm feeling like I'm unworthy, I'm going to pick on things from past, from my childhood, or I'm going to pick out things in present, and I will justify to myself that I'm unworthy.
Wow.
And that's like a, yeah, but this is something that I've read a lot about. But yeah, continue.
So I think that's the first thing, and the second thing is, basically, like, corporates make money
Yeah,
by using insecurity. Like basically they make money from insecure people. Like, have you seen
yeah.
Lipton tea ad? Like, Shraddha Kapoor comes, she's like, oh, if you drink tea you're gonna become lean. What the
Oh
actual
yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I have seen it. Yeah.
if a
Yeah.
tea could make people thin, then America wouldn't be suffering from obesity
Obesity. Yeah.
epidemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And
So true. Yeah.
like,
That's
I
so
think,
true. That is so right
yeah,
that they play with insecurities. Wow. I never realized it until you put it in words.
it's basically, that's how like Fair and Lovely and all the beauty products also go, right? If you're like dark or
Yeah.
insecure, use this product to make yourself feel better. If you're like fat,
Hmm.
there are like so many like weird like tactics. Like, my mom, before I got into like when I started like
Lifting.
seeking
Yeah.
information, like fitness information, like I would actually wake up in the morning, put apple cider vinegar in hot water and drink. Like, that is where I started. And now when I
Hmm.
look back, there is zero thing like that would add to lose body fat unless I do something
Hmm.
like physically. There's nothing it's adding. So people
Hmm.
more like drink this, or like drink that, or like eat this when you wake up, or like eat this
Yeah.
when you like before you sleep. It's mostly like they want to sell products so that like people will like feel better using them.
For sure. For sure. And the thing is, even we are so, at that point when we want something, we are so desperate for it that any quick fix, we are gonna try and get through it. Like, I
Yeah.
remember there was this time where intermittent fasting was getting really, really famous for fat loss. Okay. And I thought that's something, I really thought that it's something very magical. I didn't knew that, this is nothing. You're just fasting for some time, but you're eating after that. So even if you eat the same amount of food when you eat in a full day of eating, it's not going to make much of a difference in the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
And I did try intermittent fasting. It's just that for us, like, when it conformed to our beliefs, and second, we always, like, our brain, this is something that I also read somewhere, that we are always trying to look for the least resistance path in our life. Okay. And like, your brain, if I tell you to wake up at 5 a.m. and go for a run, okay, and I'll tell you to make this as a habit, you will in the morning find ways to not do it, because you would rather just sleep in. And who wants to wake up at 5 a.m.? And who wants to go to the gym for an hour, lift weights, come back, or just actively walk a little bit in the evening for 30 minutes just to stay a little active? You would rather probably watch TV for that. So you have to, like, people, when even, and we are designed like this. I feel like even with this technology age, we have become so, like, I would say a little, so couch potatoes kind of thing. Like, we are working for sure, like obviously we have mental work to do, but physically we are just seated for such
Yeah.
longer hours, and we, it's just been like, it's just a habit now. So but when you offer someone, a person like that, if you offer a one stop solution to that person will quickly take it. It's like, yeah, I don't want to do this shit, I can just drink tea, or I can just do intermittent fasting and get and lose weight and look good. So it's just, yeah, you're right, it's insecurity. They're playing with the, probably, like, basically they're playing with the insecurity, plus a human, like, you would rather want to have a one stop solution rather than actually getting the shit done. And
Yeah.
if honestly any person who comes to me with this, I just show them David Goggins. I'm like, you know what, you just look at this guy and just read his captions and look at him.
If you are like a
But yeah,
couch
because you
potato, if you look at David Goggins is on another spectrum
other
where he's like
he's like the
toxic.
extreme
Yeah,
end, dude.
yeah, he's like the
Extreme
yeah.
end.
So if you
It's
aim for
extreme
him,
end.
you'll end up in the middle. If you are on this
That's
end,
true. That's
and
true. That's
it's
true.
so crazy because like when I did my episode on like my like fat to fit journey,
Yeah.
I didn't mention intermittent fasting for the longest period of time. I did intermittent fasting and I thought it actually like helped, but I didn't add that point because I was at a place where I could realize what benefits did intermittent actually give me. Intermittent
Mhm.
fasting actually made me balance my energy. Like usually when I wake up in the morning, if I'm used to eating breakfast, I would feel like eating, like I could literally see my like stomach growl if I didn't eat breakfast. So when I was doing
Got
like
it.
intermittent fasting, when I directly had lunch, then in the
Mm-hmm.
morning I would be much more active. Like even if I went to the gym in the morning, I wouldn't feel
Mm-hmm.
tired because of that. Plus, I think that helped me regulate like my calorie intake. Like there's nothing magical.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. For some people, it really works out. For some, like for me, it didn't work out because I used to feel dizzy. So I realized
Hmm.
that I need some food in my system to work out. And for some, it just helps to, because what happens, what you were saying about craving, and there's a thin line between your body actually needing that food versus you craving, or versus just you being thirsty, because we often also confuse thirsts with hunger. That is also a very thin line.
Yeah.
And with intermittent fasting, what it makes you realize after a few days is, like, sometimes you actually don't need that much food that you're eating. Like, you're actually okay. Like, you realize that I think you're eating, like, I think I'm eating more than what is required, because I'm just in the habit of eating it. So sometimes intermittent fasting is like a good, I would say, a skill to just, or a skill or something to just see how your body is responding. Probably for some people it works wonders because of their schedule and because of their body, and that's what I think it happened with you.
Yeah. With my
Yeah.
sister, it had like negative like
Honestly, for a
things.
woman, I wouldn't go for intermittent fasting, because we do need to nourish our body, especially like around your period. I still don't have the accurate information on it. I'm still like reading up on it, but I know for a fact that something that I've read about, something that I've noticed on myself for now at least, is that when you're training, especially when you're lifting weights, if your sister is probably not doing any workout or any physical activity, and then she is following that intermittent fasting, maybe then in that case is different. But in, like, if you take my case, I shouldn't, because I'm lifting weights, my activity levels are high, my stress is high in the gym. I work after coming here because I create content, I edit, I sit down. So for me, I need it. Like, from at least a woman's body, I need it. But I want to know what your sister was dealing with.
She had, I think, she started intermittent fasting like 1 year back at the same time when uh, like when I actually like that was when I started to lose weight. Like probably that's when my
Mm-hmm.
family members thought that like intermittent fasting was like the major reason why I lost weight. So I
Yeah.
think that my sister had like stomach bloating and gastric. Like even now she faces the
Ah,
problem because of that. Like initially whatever she's like I don't know what the cause is. Like something is causing like inflation of like in her gut. Like she's always like she feels bloated, and she says that she started like getting like feeling bloated,
experiencing
yeah,
this.
experiencing bloatedness after she started doing like intermittent fasting.
Okay. And
So
how is she now?
I think she's still like facing problems with that. Probably, I think if she has like a shitty sleep, like she'll have like a bloated stomach next day. But yeah, I think that intermittent fasting, like fasting in general, works if you customize it for yourself, right? Now, let's
For
say
sure.
if I have a tendency, initially I had a tendency to like watch movie late at night and then like binge eat something.
Yeah.
So then I inverted my intermittent fasting. I'm like, I'm not gonna eat like post 6 o'clock, and I'm not gonna eat post 7 o'clock, because that's the time where I binge
Yeah.
eat the most. So I think that
Very.
like these two variants, right? Like there's so much of like individualized things that
Oh,
people
for sure.
need to pay attention, if like is this helping them or not.
For sure.
There is no like generalized like path to like lose weight, or like what might have helped someone else might not have helped someone else, like you said.
For sure, man. Like the principles obviously remain the same, but that's where the individualization and the complexity comes, because it should be for that individual. Like for your sister now, she obviously, I don't have full knowledge, but for your sister now, it would be really different for her, but maybe her gut health is getting affected due to the foods that she ate, or due to the food that she's eating right now, or her sleep, or her mental health. There's so many things to consider. So what I give to you won't work for her. It might actually deteriorate, even though the principles are same. So yeah.
So I think that's why you need like a personal trainer like you. So
Yeah, thanks, man. Email
people,
me,
yeah.
call me.
So I like
For-
if people want to connect to you like regarding
Mhm.
like the personal training, do you train only for women? Like is it your niche, or like do you?
Yeah, I mean I train men too. I have trained men too. So before this, before online coaching, I was actually a personal trainer, like gym floor. Like I
Oh
actually like
wow.
a personal training session. Yeah, and I think every coach should go through that. I still think I should go through it more, because that's where you get experience of how actually someone's body is responding. And online training is something, obviously I had to do it because the lockdown started, and I'm also grateful for that. But wait, what was your question? I completely. I'm so
if
sorry. I just blanked
if
out.
people if people want to seek personal training like online, like how
Yeah.
do they connect to you?
Okay. That was. Oh, why did I start saying? Okay. So sorry for my rambling. Um, they can. So I have my email on my Instagram. YouTube is just not right now. I don't seek you because I just want to. YouTube is just. I want to showcase my journey and just provide knowledge for people who can't work with me. But on Instagram, it's I have my email over there, and you can send me an email on skipperar19@gmail.com. And I get back to you probably in a week or so whenever I have. But also, I'll be working on my website so that this
Oh
process
wow.
gets, yeah, yeah. I always give you like a head man. I always give you information beforehand.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm
no, I'll
so
be working on a
honored.
website. So the whole process of connection would become a little easy through the website. So yeah. But right now
Mhm.
I'm working through email. So you send me an email, I read your email if my slots are open, and we get on a call, and I see, the first thing I do is I actually see if and I can vibe out with them. Because even I'm telling you, even as a coach and a trainee, I need to see if I can actually work with them. Like if my relationship, even in this, I see our relationship. Like if I see that our relationship is not going to work, maybe some other person. Because see, every coach, I think I've spoken to you about this. Every coach will bring their own biases. So you will not always get, the one way of coaching clients. Because from where I have come, I focus probably more on, let's say, some mental health aspects as well, because I have gone through it. So I have that bias towards my coaching. Like, I want to make sure that you are doing
You can
good
empathize.
overall. Yeah, exactly. So every coach has their own style. So I just need to see if my way of working is going to work for you. If not, like if maybe I don't see I'm the right fit for you, how you are as a person, then I would just tell, I
Say
would
goodbye.
actually give some other, yeah, or I would just give other coaches number, because I know like
Hmm.
few people in the industry or other female coaches as well. And yeah, but that these are the two-step process that is there to connect with me.
First mail and second is interview.
Call. Yeah, interview call. No,
Yeah.
it's not interview. Okay, you will. It sounds so intimidating, like I'm interviewing people for my coaching, but no, it's just actually just to see if I am the right fit for you.
You can ask questions like, where do you see yourself in the next like 5 years? Give me like, what do you do? Like, who is, like, describe
Who are
yourself.
you?
Yeah, like you
What is
have
your
like.
passion and purpose in life? They'll be like, bro, मेरे को fit नहीं होना. I don't want to get fit by.
Yeah, I mean, like people. I don't think people know how important like personal training is. Like, I have never had a personal trainer, so I think probably that's why I did like so many mistakes. Like, if I
Yeah,
had someone like you telling me like, bro, calm down here, like, bro, put more efforts there, I think that I would
yeah.
have achieved my goal like even sooner, which would last for a long time. So I think like
There
that's.
was this. I'm so sorry, but there
Yeah,
was
yeah.
this one quote that I read about how, like some person told a trainer or a coach in the fitness industry that they're charging too much for it, for coaching. And even though obviously the things are simple, and the reply for that coach, it was like a quote conversation, and the coach said that it's not what I'm doing right now, it's the years of experience that I've gone through that I'm actually giving you in one sentence, because I have gone through it and I know what the mistakes, and I know when to stop you, when to how to guide you, because these are the years, and that's what I'm charging. I'm not charging for the things I know, I'm charging for the things I know
You've
plus the things that
experienced.
I've gone through. Exactly. But yeah,
It's so
and
it's
I
so
do
true.
see, this industry blooming, because there's not so many, this industry is not too bloomed right now, I would say. But I do see this industry blooming a lot in future for sure.
Yeah, I think that like with personal training, the vlogs, right? I think that could be the next thing that people like. Initially, now I don't look at like how like my chest workout. I just don't go randomly Google like chest workout, shoulder workout, and then watch them. I used to be me
Correct.
that like five
Way
years
before.
back. Yeah, like 5 years back, I would
Yeah,
probably do that. Now I want to see the journey. Like I want to see this like what this dude does on a daily basis. So I navigate more towards vlogs because I want to see what he eats. I want to see, the subtle things that he adds. Let's say, like today, I'm hitting my like PR or something, so I'm eating a lot of carbs, or like I want to
I
hear all
get
those
it.
things.
I get it. Thanks for pointing that out, honestly, because that makes me, like I will make sure that I'm also being like I'm making sure I'll basically I'm saying that I'll make sure that I keep this in points, headers in my. What am
Yeah,
I
because
saying? I'm just like, dude, I said pointers and headers and mixed it up. What I was saying was so exhausted now. But I need more water, man. But no, what I was saying is thanks for saying this, because it makes me just go back and I'll keep a note of this when I'm making a vlog. Because you're right, even I feel connected to a journey rather than just, this is your chest workout, do this.
yeah,
And yeah, that's true. That's how the connection forms, because you see their journey.
yeah, that's so true.
So thanks
Like,
for that. That actually encourages me to make more vlogs. So thanks.
I mean, like whatever you're doing it, like you're actually nailing it. Like you just have to keep doing
Thanks,
what you're
man.
doing. That's all. Like like you're funny, like you're not, dude. You're the person. You're not just some social media like fitness influencer. You're a like you've studied it. Like you're a coach. Like not a
Yeah.
lot of fitness influencers. Like they are not studied in
I
this field.
honestly
Like
hate influencer word. I don't know why. It's just I don't hate it, but it's just that it's been in the bad context for a really long period of time. Because I think people are not equipped to provide knowledge if you are not studied it. Like you can like knowledge in the sense that I'm not saying tips. Like I'm not saying that you did a wrong thing, but I think you did the right thing because you're coming out of experience. But I just feel like there are a lot of people who just claim themselves as people who know the shit that they're talking about. And
yeah,
even when I am talking, I feel like it's really getting important for you to say before you start anything that I'm talking about this. This
from
is
my
from my
experience.
experience. Exactly. So this is not like a professional advice. Like even when I spoke about mental health, I was like, dude, I'm not a therapist or a psychologist. This is my experience, and I'm going to tell you what I did to get out of this bad negative headspace. And it's so important to say that. But this is one of the reasons that I hate that word influencer, but I know that it's a good word, but it's just that I've seen so many bad contexts to it,
Yeah.
to this word. But anyway, yeah.
So true. Yeah. I think that like when like influencers, they don't understand that what works for them might not have worked for someone else. So
Exactly,
it's
exactly.
the
That context has to
mindfulness.
come into the picture. Yeah.
Yeah. You're so mindful with your content. I really like your content, like whatever you do. Like I like
Mhm.
whoever listening to this, like I want them to follow you. It's like if they
Oh,
wanna
thank you.
pursue with fitness, I would recommend you with my like heart and soul because I like the
Oh,
content that you're
thanks.
putting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this. I'm so like honored to have you. Like I'm so happy that you decided to do
Yeah.
this.
Thank you for getting in touch with me. Even I'm so happy that I found you because I made a new connection here. And one
You
day we will do in
yes.
offline podcast together.
Yes, let's do
Yeah.
that. I'll be looking
Yep.
forward for that. This podcast is now recorded on video as well as audio. If you want to see my beautiful face, you can come to YouTube. If you want to hear my beautiful voice, you can check it out on Spotify, JioSavan, and Ghana.
A Sankarshan Joshi trip.